No closing or tolling the Strait of Hormuz. Those were the goals from the beginning of this. Oh, something else. Ballistic missiles, not mentioned anywhere in this entire document. Nowhere. Nothing about developing ballistic missiles, which they have fired at U.S. bases in the entire Middle East and Israel. Completely absent from this document at all. Completely absent. 2, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran undertake to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity and refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. That means if Iran wants to kill 42,000 protesters, hey, U.S., you don't get to say anything about it. You don't get to do anything about it. We get to kill who we want. They're our people. Number 3, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in a maximum of 60 days, extendable by mutual consent. So what is this, another ceasefire for 60 days? Is that what this is? Okay, there's a timeline on this thing. Extendable by mutual consent. So this is irrelevant because this thing could just be bumped by Iran and the U.S. going, all right, let's punt it a little bit. 4, immediately upon signing of the MOU, the United States of America will begin the removal of its naval blockade and... Whoa. No. Did we get the nuclear dust? Did we stop them from enriching uranium? Did we shut down their ballistic missile program? Are we sure they're not going to continue mining the strait? No, absolutely not. Why should we remove the naval blockade? If you remove the naval blockade, they can sell oil again, which means they have money again. No. During this period, the traffic of vessels will be in proportion to the number of pre-war traffic being restored by the Islamic Republic of Iran. The United States of America further undertakes to remove its forces from proximity of Iran within 30 days after the final deal. No, absolutely not. These guys cannot be trusted. Why would you pull all your forces out? No. Upon signing of this MOU, the Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vessels with no charge for 60 days only. So that means they want to charge vessels after that? The traffic of commercial vessels will immediately start, and concerning the need for removing the technical and military obstacles in demining by the Islamic Republic of Iran will be instated within 30 days. So you want the money to pay for your military from the tolling. Is that what you want? They say the Administration of Maritime Services of the Strait of Hormuz will be in discussion with other Persian Gulf states in line with applicable international law. Now, there's one saving grace here where those countries don't want tolls on their ships, so they may shut this down and not allow it. But right now, you get to toll the strait, apparently. The United States of America undertakes with regional partners to develop a definitive, mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. So we had to go in there and blow you up because you're a bunch of terrorists. Now we have to rebuild your country, and we get nothing for it? No, thank you. Absolutely not. So who's giving you the $300 billion? Is it the U.S.? Is it Gulf states? Is it by lifting sanctions, which now you get the money for your economy and you're the number one state sponsor of terror, so you're going to go back to funding terror? No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Next, the United States of America undertakes to terminate all types of sanctions. Did we get the nuclear stuff? Did we get the nuclear stuff at all? No? Then why are we removing the sanctions? Including United Nations Security Council resolutions, IAEA Board of Governors resolutions, and all unilateral U.S. sanctions, primary and secondary, an agreed-upon start schedule of the final deal. No. If you give up your nuclear weapons, if you give up your ballistic missile program, if you stop funding terror, well, think about it. The Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. Reaffirms? You guys have been lying for decades. Why would we believe anything you say right now? Oh, by the way, with that $300 billion, who's making the investment in Iran? You think the Gulf states want to make investments in Iran? No, but you know who does? Russia and China. So you have now opened up the door for Russia and China doing investments in Iran to rebuild the country so they can have a foothold in the Middle East. No, absolutely not. So now you're saying, oh, we pretty promised not to develop nuclear weapons. No. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran have agreed to resolve disposition of stockpiled enriched material pursuant to a mechanism that will be mutually agreed upon in accordance with a schedule mentioned in paragraph 7, with a minimum methodology to be downblending on site under the supervision of the IAEA. 2, the two parties also agreed to discuss the issue of enrichment and other mutually agreed matters related to the Islamic Republic of Iran's nuclear needs based on a satisfactory framework being agreed upon in the final deal. No, absolutely not. So I make sure I got this right. You guys are now proposing a memorandum of understanding, which is worse than Barack Obama's deal. Under Barack Obama's deal, we gave them a couple $1 billion, pallets of cash, and removed some sanctions, and said, pretty please don't develop nuclear weapons. Now we're giving them $300 billion for a promise of not developing nuclear weapons, which they've never followed before. Are you insane? No, this is a bad idea. And it gives fodder to the Democrats. Watch every Democrat become a hawk on Iran overnight. And you have now just given them the ultimate line for any TV interview. Obama only gave Iran $1.2 billion. Trump gave him $300 billion. You just cost yourself votes in the midterm. Pending the final deal, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran agree to maintain the status quo. The Islamic Republic of Iran will, quote, maintain the current status quo of its nuclear program, and the United States of America will not impose any new sanctions and will not deploy additional forces to the region. So you're keeping the status quo of developing nuclear weapons. The United States of America undertakes that immediately upon the signing of this MOU, until determination of sanctions, the U.S. Department of Treasury will issue waivers for the export of Iranian crude oil, petroleum products, and derivatives, and all associated services, including banking transactions, insurances, and transportation, etc. So basically, you're giving them their economy back without getting anything in return. Nothing in return. Oh, it gets worse. The United States of America undertakes to make fully available for use the frozen or restricted funds and assets of the Islamic Republic of Iran upon implementation of the MOU. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran will mutually agree on the procedures related to the release of these funds during negotiations. So now you're releasing sanctions, you're unfreezing accounts, you're basically giving them their economy back. You realize how we brought their economy to their knees? How now 1 rial is worth like $1 million, excuse me, put that the other way around. $1 is worth 1 million rials because their economy has so little value? Are you kidding me with this? The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran agree that an executive mechanism will be established to monitor the successful implementation of the MOU and future compliance of a final deal. Okay, this is garbage. This is absolute garbage. And I'm going to tell you who it came from. This came from Vice President J.D. Vance. He is the architect of this mess. J.D. Vance negotiated this. Why is he the one out there selling it? Until now, who has been the one who's been selling all the deals? Marco Rubio. Who's been the one talking about Marco Rubio, President Trump? Who's been out there representing the administration on this? J.D. Vance saw that Marco Rubio was becoming more and more popular. And he said, I know this is really messing with my 2028 chances. I need to be out front again. I need to be out front in public. I'm going to solve the Iran war. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to solve the Iran war. J.D. Vance has always been a bit of an isolationist. Have you noticed that Trump's language regarding Israel has changed recently to stuff you might hear from Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, when Trump is saying things like, well, does Israel really have to knock down a whole building when they retaliate against Hezbollah? Okay, Guys, it's war, and war sucks. And when terrorists hide in apartment buildings and launch rockets from schools and launch rockets from apartment buildings and launch rockets from hospitals, what are you supposed to do? Just say off limits? Off limits? Also, what, you're supposed to do a tit for tat? They send a rocket at you, so you just send one rocket at them, or you come back and you destroy the launcher, or you come back and you destroy the drone factory, or you come back and destroy the terrorist cell. That's how you win. That's how you fight. You come back, as President Bartlett said in the West Wing, with total disaster. That's what you come back with, so they don't even think about hitting you again. That's how you fight a war. This is J.D. Vance isolationism with a little bit of the, well, you know, this is Israel's fault. We got into this because of Israel. That's what this is. You give a foothold to China. You give a foothold to Russia. And you have now given Iran the ability to get all its money back, recover its economy with no changes whatsoever. J.D. Vance is flying to Switzerland on Friday to stand next to the Iranian architect of this, whose name is Mohammad Galbaf. And this guy, I have video of him standing in the parliament of Iran, burning an American flag while chanting death to America, because this guy is one of the heads of the IRGC and has the blood of thousands on his hands. And this is who you're going to go have a signing with and shake the hand and take the pictures with? J.D. Vance may have just killed any chance he had at being elected or being the nominee for the Republicans for president of the United States, because nobody likes this deal. Nobody who understands this deal likes this deal. It is a terrible deal. It is snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. I don't see we got anything we wanted. There is one solitary possibility that this isn't as bad as I am making it sound. Just one. And I'll keep coming back to this example. The one possibility is the Abraham Accords. In the Abraham Accords, the first proposal of them was basically giving the Palestinians anything they wanted. And they knew that, Jared Kushner knew that if the Palestinians rejected it, they could go to the Arab world and say, guys, we tried. We gave them everything they wanted. They're not interested in peace. Hey, United Arab Emirates, how about we make peace and forget about this Palestine business? And hey, Bahrain, Morocco, all you other countries, let's do that. And it worked. Unless this is something in the Arab world where you're saying, guys, we tried. But the Arab world hates Iran. The Arab world made peace with Israel, made peace with the Jews because they were more concerned about Iran, because they hate Iran. You're telling me that our Gulf partners like this deal where Iran gets to keep their nuclear missiles? Where they get to keep enriching uranium? No way. They're standing up there and smiling. Who negotiated this deal? Who were the mediators? Pakistan, which is a stand-in for China. Well, we know China got what it wanted. Turkey, which funds terrorism. Qatar, which funds terrorism. This is a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad deal. And it has J.D. Vance's isolationist policies all over it, where they're starting to, even when J.D. Vance goes out there and talks about it, says we don't want these never-ending wars. We don't want U.S. soldiers' boots on the ground. One, you didn't need the U.S. boots on the ground. You could have gone to your Arab partners and say, take Karg Island. You cut us in for a little piece of the action. We'll give you the air support. Done. That's it. You could have done that. They didn't do that. This reeks of J.D. Vance because of his isolationist policies. And something else with these never-ending wars. You know how you get a never-ending war? You start funding the number one state sponsor of terror in the world, who starts funding it again. I do not see a single good thing about this deal at all. It was so bad, as a matter of fact, that at the G7 summit today, when this whole thing started at the G7 summit today, do you want to know how bad it was? Peter Doocy, who is, I'd say he's on our side because he's from Fox, right? This is what he said to President Trump in front of the entire international media and all the world leaders.
A wise man once said in January of 2020, Iran never won a war, but never lost a negotiation. That wise man.
Who said that?
Donald Trump.
Oh, that's what I thought you were going to say.
So how do you go back to the United States and convince a skeptical American public that this deal is a
look,
win?
Exactly. Because Iran cannot be trusted. Is there a way Trump can pull a rabbit out of his hat? I tell you, I am hoping that Thursday night, Friday morning, we hear that Air Force Two is not taking off. We hear that it is not going to Switzerland. And they say, guys, we tried. We gave them everything they wanted, and they wanted more. So we're walking away, and the bombing starts the next day. I hope that's the way this works out, because this is a terrible deal. And it will follow J.D. Vance. Because now the Democrats get to say, J.D. Vance and Donald Trump gave more to Iran than Barack Obama ever did. And we never had to bomb Iran while Barack Obama or Joe Biden were president. And the average American will believe it because they don't listen to me. And they don't understand the nuances of it like you do for listening to the show. This is a terrible, terrible, terrible memorandum of understanding. And the only thing that gives me any hope whatsoever is that it's not the final deal. But with a memorandum of understanding like this, what is the final deal going to look like? Hey, England, would you like the 13 colonies back? Hey, Mexico, would you like Texas back? Hey, Iran, would you like Washington, D.C.? What can we give you? The only way this is good is if they're trying to say, we offered them everything. We got flack from Republicans. We got flack from everybody, including Ari Hoffman. This was such a bad deal. We tried, guys. We tried. We're blowing them off the face of the earth. That is the only out to this and the only way I will stop being upset over this. When we come back, my friends, we are going to take your calls. We are going to take your texts about this because so many of you want to chime in regarding this deal. I'll also tell you about Katie Wilson absolutely losing the trust of the mainstream media. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Well, it seems like everybody over on the text line is agreeing with me regarding this deal. Becky and Enumclaw, you are right. We haven't heard from Marco Rubio or Jared Kushner or Steve Witkoff. I wonder what they're thinking. I wonder why this is allowed. I agree with everything you said, and I hope Trump doesn't allow this. From the 206, this is a United States surrender document, nothing more or less. Larry, go back and listen to what Trump said. We are not giving Iran money. Iran is taking out loans to build the country back again, not United States money. That is not what this says, Larry. That is not what the document says. Now, mind you, it doesn't say the United States is giving them money. It says they are getting $300 billion. Now, depending on which version you have of the MOU, because there are 4 of them out there, but they're all amazingly similar, is it coming from Gulf partners? Is it coming from the loans, like you mentioned? Either way, why are you letting them have access to the money? You want to fix their economy? They can stop being terrorists. They can stop enriching uranium, and then we can move on. Just saying, sure, have $300 billion. What do you think the number one state sponsor of terror, which has been advocating for Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthi rebels and everybody else, is going to do with the $300 billion? 206 says, don't forget it was different leadership during Obama, and we also bombed the crap out of them. Obama didn't just hand over cash. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. We did nothing of consequence to stop the Iranian nuclear program during Iran. Nothing at all. I promise you. We just didn't. We go to the KVI studio line. Take a call from Joe in Skagit County. Joe, what's going on?
Hey, buddy, it's Transit Joe.
Oh, Transit Joe. What's up, man? How you doing?
We need to fire J.D. Vance, and because this is a horrible deal. We should be telling Iran, we should be thanking our brave men and women in the military who set Iran's nuclear program back dozens of years by working with Israel to take out the nuclear facilities, taking out the scientists, taking out the evil scientists, taking out the Ayatollah who deserved the death penalty for his crimes against humanity. The list of our military successes are great, and frankly, instead of John Dork Vance, we should have Ari Hoffman as vice president. What do you think?
I don't want the job of vice president because somebody I heard one time compared it to a warm bucket of spit. So no, thank you. But why wasn't Marco Rubio in charge of this? Why wasn't Marco Rubio in charge of this? Appreciate the call, Joe. Appreciate the vote of confidence. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Larry says, Trump said if Iran misbehaves, it's back to bombing again. Yes, I agree with you, Larry. But here's the thing. Why are we giving them any of this? You're giving them the opportunity to misbehave. What do you do if you're a teacher in a classroom and 2 kids aren't behaving well who are sitting next to each other? Separate them. You go here, you go there, right? So you don't let them all of a sudden have the money so they can start funding terror again. They're still funding Hezbollah. They're still helping them out. As bad shape as they're in, they are still doing that. This one here, Chris in Arlington. Is this deal a distraction? Maybe to persuade public opinion. It seems out of characteristic for Trump compared to all the other deals that had America first as a priority. It also seems we are missing a few data points that would change my opinion that this is a terrible deal. Chris, I completely agree with you. Why won't they show us the whole thing? And I'm beginning to think more and more the reason they won't show it to us is because if we look at the whole thing, we'll be even more upset than we are right now. We go back to the KVI studio line, take a call from Dennis in Tacoma. Dennis, what's going on?
Hey, Ari, please tell me this is a ruse by Trump or something. I mean, there's no way he's just going to say, just let JD handle it. I just can't understand that.
Yep.
To come to this, it can't happen like this.
Yep. I think we're all on the same page here, man. And look, the people who listen to this show, we're not the TDS people, right? The people who listen to this show. What have I been called? A shill for President Trump, a right-wing shock jock. I've been called the president of MAGA. I've been called all these different things before, right? We're allowed to disagree with the man. This is not good. Really not good.
No, this is not good.
Yeah.
No.
And I think it's going to hurt him in the midterms because a lot of independents are going to go, you raise my gas prices for this, right? In fact, I think people behind glass windows right now, if I look at the people behind the glass windows in my studio right now, they're probably saying, yeah, you raised my gas prices for this? See? Shaking his head. And he doesn't agree with me on anything. You see what I'm saying? Dennis, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Up next, my friends, the media is big mad at Katie Wilson. That's right, Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson can't hold her own when the entire media is coming after her. Young Zach got to confront her today. We'll tell you what that's all about when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Good news, my friends. McStabbies. The McDonald's franchise at the intersection of 3rd and Pine Street has reopened for in-restaurant dining. You don't have to get your stuff through a window anymore and run for your life. No, my friends, you can sit there and enjoy it. Which makes me ask the question, what changed? Oh, you mean the city said there's a whole bunch of people coming to Seattle. We might want to clean up the area on 3rd and Pine, 3rd and Pike, because it's so dangerous over there. We might want to do something about it, which shows you they could have done something about it the whole time. They just chose not to. Now, as exciting as everybody is treating this moment of McStabbies having their restaurant open again, oh, things are getting better in Seattle. You want me to prove that they're not? Como News, man seriously injured during late-night stabbing at Gasworks Park. From the Post-Millennial, 2-man critically stabbed near Seattle World Cup venue as city welcomes international visitors. So the stabbings are still happening. They've just been pushed out of the downtown core. That's right, keep the tourists safe. Let the tourists have their McDonald's. In fact, they even cleaned up the sidewalk and put some nice Native American-looking drawings on it. Isn't that nice? Waste of your taxpayer money. Isn't that nice? Because in a few weeks, there's just going to be some homeless guy pooping on it right there in the middle of the street. Well, you think it's just me calling out Katie Wilson? No. The entire media was calling out Katie Wilson. So she had a presser today. And we've been sending young Zach all over Seattle to cover FIFA because you know what's amazing about this? So a lot of times they won't give press passes to KVI, right? They won't do that. But it's FIFA, not Seattle you're dealing with now. So you don't have to go through the mayor's office with this kind of stuff anymore. We can sneak in young Zach. So today, what's interesting is this is audio that young Zach got for us. Now, if you listen carefully, the entire media and the gaggle they did with Katie Wilson, they are all calling her out.
No, this is a global mega event, and so we are very much expecting and prepared for protest activity, which is why we have many designated protest zones.
Wait a second. Okay, I don't know if you heard that too well. Let's go through that again. Katie Wilson was asked if there are going to be massive protests. She was asked this by one of the reporters who saw what happened in Los Angeles. If you don't know what happened in Los Angeles yesterday, Iran was playing. And when Iran was playing, what happened was you had a whole bunch of Iranians that now live here, that love freedom, that hate the Ayatollah. By the way, they're not going to be happy about this Trump deal either. They were handing out T-shirts with the names of people killed by the regime for people to wear inside the stadium. They were bringing in the Iranian flags with the lion on them. That's the old pre-1979 flag. And the stuff was being taken away, and FIFA's losing their minds because they banned that flag. So you've got those kind of protests, but we're Seattle. We are Seattle, my friends, and we don't protest peacefully. No, I'm not worried about the Iranians. I'm worried about who shows up to support the regime. I'm worried about all the Hamas types that might show up. And then Katie Wilson says, we have these protest areas. We literally spoke to young Zach about the protest areas the other day. What are the protest areas? They're these little 4x4 white wrapped fence netting nonsense in the middle of the street. Oh, you think that's going to keep them contained? You think that's going to keep them penned in? Yes, the Seattle Antifa types, the Seattle Hamas types are going to stay in their little fenced off area in their protest zones. Yeah, Katie Wilson, I think that's going to work out. Right?
In the stadium area, and our law enforcement is very prepared to deal with that in a tough labor at this point.
Wait, law enforcement's very prepared for that? Hang on a second, Katie Wilson. I thought you wanted to get rid of the police. I thought you didn't want police. I thought you wanted to defund the police. I thought you wanted to abolish the police. Now you're saying, hey, wait a minute, we might actually need those police types. We go to the KVI studio line, take a call from John and Kent. John, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I thought the president's son-in-law was supposed to be in on part of that negotiation, plus some other guy, besides the vice president.
Witkoff, Steve Witkoff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of Steve Witkoff, and I wonder who's actually doing the negotiating. It sounds to me like it was J.D. Vance doing the negotiating, and I'm wondering, because here's the thing, Jared Kushner's not part of the administration like he was last time, right? And he came up with the Abraham Accords last time. This time, they basically brought him in to solve a problem, and sometimes you get stuck with the hand you're dealt. built. So what if he walks into the room and they go, well, the vice president just promised us this. You're not even a member of this administration. What are you going to promise us?
Yeah, well, it seems to me that the president would know right from the start what the deal was.
You'd think, but also here's something else. As much as we love Trump, he's got people who he can't be everywhere at once. He's got people he trusts to negotiate. He sent out Steve Witkoff. Steve Witkoff has done an okay job. I'm not the biggest fan of Steve Witkoff. Jared Kushner hasn't been as involved in this administration as he was in the last administration. And then you've got J.D. Vance, and he's a rookie. And he's going head-to-head with Iran, who, just as we quoted the president before, Iran has never won a war but never lost a negotiation. And those are words of Donald J. Trump. Yeah, I would love to know the involvement. The only way, if this whole thing goes down the tubes and then they go to the Arab countries and say, hey, we tried, then I'll say, yeah, it was Jared Kushner, because that's exactly what he did with the Abraham Accords. John, appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. From Dan, Jedi Master Hoffman. I think the offer being made is on par with what Israel has done multiple times with Hamas and Palestinians. Offer them everything they want, knowing full well that the IRGC is in charge. They're going to reject the deal at the 11th minute of the 11th hour on the 11th day. Hey, I left the door open for that. I left the door open for that possibility. Left that one open here, where maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know, man. Another one from Jeff and Kent. This one also for Jedi Master Hoffman. This deal is so bad, it can't be real. There's a 4D chess game going on here. They're going to pull a bigger version of the beeper ploy of Israel. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Yeah, we're going to have this signing agreement. Would you mind using my pen? Be like the one in, what was that, GoldenEye? Yeah, the first Pierce Brosnan one, where you click it 3 or 4 times, and then that sucker explodes, right? Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. Up next, guess what? If you want to get a business contract from the government of California, looks like you have to be gay, according to Gavin Newsom. I kid you not, it's on the forms. We'll tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Our friend Chris Rufo over at City Journal has a fun little article now. It says in California, state Democrats have embraced another kind of favoritism. Contracts for state-certified gay-owned businesses. So, if you want that state contract, you know why you didn't get it? I'll tell you why.
Maybe they weren't gay enough.
That's what it is. That's got to be why you didn't get the contract. Oh, well, maybe we got a solution. I know. Here's our solution. Here's how we fix that.
Can you tell me what is queering the map?
So I think we were trying to make the maps more gay.
That's how we fix everything. That's how we do it. You want a contract from California? That's what you got to do. The scheme operates through California Public Utilities Commission, which regulates privately owned utility companies. California Utilities spent more than $43 billion in 2024 on contractors, fuel suppliers, surveyors, engineers, and others whose work helps deliver water, gas, electricity, and internet service to California's 39 million residents. In 1986, the governor signed an Assembly Bill 3768, which required certain regulated utilities to submit annual plans for buying goods and services from women and minority-owned companies. 2 years later, this same agency created its Supplier Diversity Program, which would enforce the law and set contracting goals for large utilities. Under a series of Democratic governors, the program has expanded to include gay-owned businesses. In September of 2014, then-Governor Jerry Brown signed legislation requiring the agency to recognize LGBT-owned businesses as eligible for supplier diversity benefits. 5 years later, Governor Gavin Newsom expanded the program further, encouraging other companies involved in the energy sector to award contracts to gay-owned firms. In the years that followed, they faced activist pressure as it implemented the gay expansion. Build Out California, a since rebranded LGBTQ building industry organization, sent a letter to the commission arguing that homophobia existed within the ranks of the utility companies. The state's legislative LGBTQ caucus suggested in a 2021 letter they even consider lowering gay procurement targets as an insult to the LGBTQ plus community. By 2022, the agency had fully implemented the expansion. In practice, this meant establishing a goal for utility companies with annual reserves exceeding $25 million to buy things from state-certified LGBTQ businesses, which means if you don't spend the money with these groups, you ain't getting the money. This scheme raises an obvious question. How does a business qualify as officially gay? Well, apparently it's the paperwork. Supplier Clearinghouse, a group that certifies firms for the program, features a list of qualifications linked on its website. Applicants can secure certification by providing a letter from an LGBT organization attesting to their sexual preferences. I got a question. Are you going to go in the room and check? Is that how this works? How do you verify something of that nature? Proof that a newspaper identified them as LGBT, or 3 letters from personal contacts written on company letterhead attesting to their homosexual orientation. So wait a second. If I want to get this money from California, I go to the HR department and I say, guys, can you put on a letterhead that I'm gay so that way we can get the access to the $25 million that California is giving away? Corporate officials who falsely represent their business as gay face up to a year in county jail. Okay. Supplier Clearinghouse also accepts gay certification letters from the National LGBTQ plus and Allied Chamber of Commerce. How about it's just this, guys? If you're at a certain threshold, anybody can apply for these grants. Anybody has access to these grants, and we pick the most qualified ones, not based on who they're sleeping with, who they're not sleeping with. How about we just do that? Would that be so insane? Would that be such an odd thing to do? Instead, what do we got to do? Instead, maybe this is the problem.
Maybe they weren't gay enough.
This is insanity. This is actual insanity that this is something we're even talking about that's happening in California. Absolute craziness. Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. Up next, Seattle City Light planning massive increases thanks to the Democrats. Tell you about how it's going to affect your wallet when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI, your home for the politically homeless, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the KVI studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, Washington test scores fall again, and there is once again an effort to remove Keith Swank from office of sheriff. But before we get to any of that, my friends, I want to remind you, we are giving away two tickets to see Chris Tucker at the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel Ballroom on Friday, June 26th. In order to win these fantabulous prizes, all you have to do is text the word I give you to the number I give you for your chance to win. Today's word is laugh, as in if you go see Chris Tucker, odds are you're going to laugh. L-A-U-G-H. Text the word laugh, L-A-U-G-H, to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757 for your chance to win. Now, you're going to need a lot of free stuff because your utility bills are about to go up in price. According to Como News, Seattle City Light is proposing a pair of 9.5% rate increases in 2027 and 2028 as the utility, quote, seeks to modernize aging infrastructure, expand renewable energy resources, and prepare for growing electricity demand across the region. Do I get to say I told you so yet? Do I get to say that? Would you like to know what actually caused this? Number one, if you tell everybody to start using electric vehicles and to start using electric ranges and to start using electric furnaces and to start using electric and not gas, hey, people are going to need more electricity. And as long as you keep demonizing things like hydroelectric dams, you're going to have a problem because those wind farms ain't doing the job. Those solar panels, we live in the Pacific Northwest. How many days of the year is it actually sunny here? So now they want to deal with growing electricity demand. So now they're going to have to up your rate. Expand renewable energy resources. You know, this sounds like something that there may have been some initiatives to stop this nonsense, and yet they did it anyway. Yeah, this may have been some stuff that Turd Ferguson was hiding to keep off your bill back when he was the Attorney General of Washington. Right. You remember all this? Yes. If you want to know who's making life more expensive for you, it is Bob Ferguson and the Democrats. The proposed increases are part of Utilities' new 2027 and 2032 strategic plan, which will be presented today to the Seattle City Council's Parks and City Light Committee. Isn't that nice? They say the investments are necessary to maintain reliable service while responding to rising costs. Climate challenges. What are the climate challenges? How is climate change affecting your utilities? And increased electrification as more customers adopt, wait for it, electric vehicles and switch from fossil fuel heating systems. You remember when they tried to ban gas? And we said, wait a minute, that'll cost like $40,000 minimum to convert your house to electric. Yeah, Democrats didn't care. They went ahead with it anyway. People like Congresswoman Emily Randall, back when she was in the Washington State Legislature, was talking about how nice it was to have a cozy gas fireplace when the power went out, but then voted to ban gas. The utility said, quote, the energy industry is at a turning point, and so are we. How we use energy, where it comes from, and what it costs is changing quickly. You mean the fact that you've jacked up the prices on everything? SCL cited several factors behind the proposed increases, including inflation. Sure, blame inflation. Supply chain disruption. What are we, 2020 here? Give me a break. Higher labor costs. Who raised the labor costs in Washington State? And the growing expense of utility equipment. Officials also know that electricity demand, which remained relatively flat for years, is expected to grow steadily as homes and businesses electrify transportation and heating systems. Whose fault is that? For a typical residential customer, Seattle City Light estimates that monthly billings would increase by about $10 in 2027 and another $10 in 2028. So what you are talking about is a 200% increase? Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Customers enrolled in the utility discount program would see a smaller increase, with bills rising approximately $4 a month in each of those years. The utility emphasized that plans to expand assistance programs and affordability measures to help customers manage the higher costs. You know what? It doesn't pay to make money in Seattle anymore. It just doesn't. I'm just going to identify as a poor person and see if they'll pay my utility bills. Maybe I can get a nice apartment overlooking Green Lake. Yeah, this all sounds lovely. This sounds great. I'll get a free cell phone. I get some gift cards. I get some drug paraphernalia. I won't use it, but if that's part of the thing, I'll just take it. It'll be fun to show people, oh, look what I got from the government. You want to go do some drugs? Crazy. Additionally, here's what else they want to do. Ready? Adding new carbon-free energy resources such as wind, solar, battery storage, and transmission capacity. How many times have we been through that solar don't work here in the Pacific Northwest? Replacing aging electrical infrastructure, including deteriorating underground power cables. I'm fine with that. You got to do that kind of stuff. Meeting obligations under the new Skagit hydroelectric project license. Who changed the regulations for that? Because they're at war with hydroelectric. There you go. Modernizing technology systems to improve customer service, cybersecurity, grid resilience, and operational efficiency. I don't believe you guys. I believe the majority of this is actually going into the climate change stuff. In fact, we're going to pull up this proposal tonight. We're going to take a look at it. And this is why so many people are leaving Washington. With the cost continuing to increase, do you get any more value for the amount of money you are shelling out here in Washington? Nope. Kevin Wallace, who's the CEO over at Wallace Properties, he's a former Bellevue City Council member, has this handy-dandy little chart that he posted over on LinkedIn. He said, we started the year with 17 billionaires in Washington. Number 15 launched his kids and is ready for a new home in Las Vegas. That means Richard Barton, the CEO of Zillow. He's out of here. Number 7 discovered the coffee smells better in Florida, which means Howard Schultz. Now it appears number 4 discovered that they can make video games from anywhere, and a $70 million estate north of Miami will do just fine. Okay. So that means more and more people are getting out of here. Assuming Newell changed his domicile, that's Gabe Newell, changes his domicile, that's $15 billion in wealth, headed for states with no income, capital gains, or estate taxes. And it's only been 96 days since the income tax bill passed. This is going to leave a mark. Mr. Newell, thank you for the jobs you created in Bellevue. You too will be missed. So let me make sure I got this right. I thought that Democrats said there wasn't going to be any capital flight. They're not going to leave. We're just going to tax the millionaires and tax the billionaires. Not you little people. What happens when all the millionaires and billionaires leave town? Who's left for them to tax? You and me, my friends. That's why we're working so hard to repeal the income tax. Now, tomorrow, Brian Haywood's going to be joining us on the show. He's going to be joining us to give us an official total of how many signatures have come in. They're doing great so far. You guys are doing amazing. If you want to know where you can sign these forms and how to get them delivered to you and send them back, but don't forget, you're running out of time, guys, and the mail is not the most reliable thing in the world. Head on over to letsgowashington.com. That's letsgowa.com to get all the information there. And here's the other thing. Let's say they do get this income tax across the finish line, these lefty Democrats. Let's say it survives all the challenges and people don't vote to repeal it at the ballot box. Are they good stewards of your money? No, of course not. They lose your money all the time. They lose it. But now they're making excuses for it. I saw this one the other day. So the King County Regional Homeless Authority, they've lost millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And then what was it? We could do better. We could do better. We like our six-figure salaries, our massive $300,000, $400,000 salaries, even though homelessness has only gotten worse on our watch. So please, you can't fire everybody and shut this thing down and maybe find better uses for the money. No. You got to keep that gravy train running. So we found the problem. We fixed it. And Gurmay Zahalai, who used to be on the King County Council, now is the King County Executive, says, I was on the King County Council. I know you guys didn't fix it because I know you guys sucked back when I was on the King County Council. Even though I voted for it, even though I supported you, even though I defended you, yeah, you guys are not good at your job. So, no, we're not going to go with that. And they go, well, pretty please? I mean, after all, we're your activists. Who's going to vote for you? Who's going to support you? And he says, you know what? You're right. You're right. I'm just going to find some accountant friend of mine. We're going to install him in your office, and he's going to make sure everything's kosher, right? Good. But now we need a line to come up with. What do we tell the little people of King County? What do we tell them? I've got it. Just say you made a mistake. According to Como News, leaders of the King County Regional Homeless Authority defended the agency's financial management after a forensic evaluation found major deficiencies, telling King County Council members that millions of dollars flagged by auditors may reflect reimbursements that were never billed, not missing taxpayer money. So you suck at your finances? You suck at keeping track of money? This is not the own you think it is. This does not improve my opinion of you. This shows if you confuse $8 million. I get worried when my bank account at the end of the month doesn't reconcile by $8. You guys couldn't get it to reconcile by $8 million? The briefing to the King County Council's committee on June 8th came months after April audit detailed significant financial and operational problems at the King County Regional Homeless Authority and prompted some elected officials to call for dismantling the agency. The evaluation found the King County Regional Homeless Authority accumulated $44.7 million negative cash position between December 2023 and July of 2025, identified as a $4.26 million administrative operating deficit and raising concerns of roughly $13 million of public funds that auditors said could not be fully accounted for. So, guys, you still suck at math. Because now you're saying, oh, guys, we didn't lose $13 million. We just lost $8 million. Oh, no, wait. No, that's wrong. Wait. We didn't lose $13 million. We just lost $5 million. Five. The 8, we just did bad bookkeeping on that. We did bad accounting on that. Do-over? Do-over, right? We'll do a do-over. Does everybody call it do-over? Do-over. We're good. Do-over. Are you kidding me with this nonsense? Really? You want to trust these people with our taxpayer? You want to trust these people with solving the homeless when they don't even know where the money went? King County Regional Homeless Authority leadership acknowledged the seriousness of the findings, but pushed back on the idea that taxpayer money had disappeared. Officials focused on about $8 million that the evaluation identified as unreconciled receivables, which King County Regional Homeless Authority leadership said largely stems from expenses that were incurred but not properly billed to Seattle and King County due to accounting and documentation failures that accumulated during the agency's early years. Basically, these are funds that we should have billed to King County and the city of Seattle. So you want me to say, well, since you can't manage your finances well and you didn't bill the people you're supposed to bill, that all of a sudden that means you should continue doing what you're doing? These are the worst excuses ever. Who came up with any of this nonsense? Who came up with this? So now they're saying, well, King County and Seattle owe us money. They actually owe us money. They didn't give us enough money. They didn't give us enough of your millions of dollars. They actually owe us. Spare me. Spare me your nonsense. You're a failed organization. You've accomplished nothing. You know what it should be? Here's the hundreds of millions of dollars you got. How many homeless people you get off the street? How many people you get into treatment? How many people you get into rehab? How many people you find jobs for? How many people did you transition back into normal life? And if that's not the majority of people on the streets, you're doing something wrong and you need to be shut down. Absolutely shut down. What's the other lie they're telling these days? This one, and I can't believe all the news outlets printed the press release. They printed the press release rather than asking the obvious question. I'm just going to read it from Como News because that's the one in front of me. Stable housing is linked to a sharp and lasting drop in jail bookings for people who have experienced homelessness. Really? This is according to King County data. You know, I got this email too. I got this press release also, and I said, oh, that's interesting. Show me the data. Couldn't find the actual data. But analysis by King County's Department of Community and Human Services. Oh, you mean the guys who also lost millions of dollars? We should trust their bookkeeping on this. We should trust their financial analysis. We should trust their analytics. No, thank you. Found jail bookings declined nearly 27% in the first year after people moved into housing and continued to fall over time. Anybody want to tell me what the problem is here? Anybody want to tell me? Ready? Maybe we just stopped prosecuting crimes. Maybe we just stopped arresting people. Do you think maybe that's it? This whole thing is flawed data. This whole thing is flawed logic because it assumes that the cops are doing what they're supposed to be doing, being allowed to do what they're supposed to be doing. And on top of that, it also assumes that the prosecutors are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So, no. No. I do not believe any of you. This is the best excuses you could come up with, and why would I trust you? You're like Iran. You've never told the truth before. Why should we trust you now? Nobody does. Do you believe this nonsense? You give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757 from the 425. When Seattle City Light says go green, they are referring to their rate hikes and more money they will be making. Yes, exactly right. Seems like a lot of people are not hot on the Iran deal, still getting texts about it, even though we talked about in the opening segment of the show. This one here from the 425, Ari, we need to wait. As long as the agreement has absolute verification facts to it, no nukes, no hostile BS through proxies, and opening of the straits, relax. I think Trump is setting up Europe and Arab states to step up and stick it to Iran for them to live up to the agreement. Rebuild Iran, let their Arab neighbors throw in the money. Maybe we are planning on secretly providing weapons to the Iranian people. Okay, all of this is bad. All of this is bad, 425. Do you remember the Iran-Contra fiasco? That was on our watch too, okay, guys? Let's not go down that road again. And you think Europe's going to manage this stuff? They're doing a bang-up job with Ukraine. No, who are they going to call when there's a problem? And also, I don't see the verification here. I do not see it. Instead, I see all carrots, no sticks. That's what I see regarding all this. That's what I see happening here. This one here from John in Redmond, Jedi Master Hoffman. I think the deal is to give Iran everything they want. When they violate it, which it will, we can say we tried and found out, and they found out. Yeah. I mean, look, I hope that's what they're doing. I'm just not sure that's what they're doing. And right now, I have more questions than answers. Speaking of questions, it looks like the kids in Washington public schools have all the wrong answers, my friends. Because when we come back, the public school scores have dropped again, as has Seattle's ranking and Washington's ranking. We'll tell you where we're at now when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just want to remind everybody of the other contest we are running this week. Now is your chance to win 4 tickets to the Bremerton Air Show on July 12th. That's right, my friends. The Bremerton Air Show is taking flight July 11th through 12th at the Bremerton National Airport. It's a celebration of classic military aircraft and world-class aerobatic performers. And guess what? We're going to be out there on the 12th. That's right. You can come see me. I will shake your babies and kiss your hands. Wait, that's not right. I will shake your hands and kiss your babies. That's right. So come out and see us at the Bremerton Air Show, July 11th through 12th. Now, the way you enter to win these fantabulous prizes is you head on over to kvi.com right now. At KVI, you go to the contest page, and you scroll down, enter your information for your chance to win. This is a web contest only. We go to the KVI studio line, take a call from John in Linwood. John, what's going on?
Hey, Ari.
John, turn down that radio. I'm hearing myself there, man.
You do?
Oh. Hello. Yes. All right, John, what's going on? Yeah.
Well, I used to be before I retired, I was a project manager, and we would do projects up to probably $250 million for buildings in downtown Seattle. And every single dollar was accounted for. I don't know why none of these GMOs are required to do any of that.
Well, because they figured out that nobody's checking. There's nobody who's checking, and on top of that, when they say, oh, we ran out of money, they could just go for more, and the Washington taxpayers will just keep voting it for them again and again and again. Times have changed, John. Sorry to tell you. They realized they could just grift it. They don't have to be responsible. Responsibility went out the window with our generations. Appreciate the call. Appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Switching gear for a second. This morning, I got a warn notice. Those are the notices that companies file when they're about to lay off a whole bunch of people. Well, I got one this morning that kind of made me happy and then made me sad. First Student, Inc. Do you know who First Student is? You see their school buses all around Western Washington all the time. First Student is that big bus company that services Seattle Public Schools and all these other ones. I've told the story many, many times about how I almost died because of an incompetent bus driver over at First Student, Inc., along with a busload of children. Yes, this actually happened. Drove onto the train tracks while that train was coming down the street. I was 2 seconds from jumping. Oh, you haven't heard this story? Okay. We'll do this for the members of the audience that haven't heard this story. There I was, young Ari Hoffman, full mane of hair, taking a bunch of kids out for a trip in the middle of nowhere to the corn maze at Stocker Farms. You know this one? Stocker Farms, corn maze, haunted. Lots of fun. Go check it out. It's great. Taking the kids out there. What happens? This crazy bus driver shows up to the synagogue. And the crazy bus driver, he does an in-flight safety demonstration for the kids when they get on the bus. I'm like, okay, a little weird. And then proceeds to break his own rules. Blasts the music, starts hitting the brakes in timing with the rhythm. I had to tell him to stop because I was getting whiplash from this stupidity. So this dude drives, and then in the distance we see Stocker Farms. And I'm like, there it is. Thank God. Land is almost there. And what happens? Dude says, I know a shortcut. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What shortcut? It's right there. He goes, no, I got to go around. Long story short, we end up on a backfield, back road in the middle of nowhere. And he does that thing where you stop on the right before the train tracks. You turn off the engine, you open the door, you see if a train's coming. Except this dum-dum did it on the train tracks. So what happens is he opens that door, and I'm sitting in the front seat next to him. All of a sudden, you hear, that train be coming down the track. You see that light. He's trying to back up, but there's cars behind him, and they're not understanding that we're on the tracks. And as he's backing up, those arms of the railroad start coming down on the roof of the bus, so you hear them scraping across the bus, scraping across it. As you're going, trying to back up, cleared it, but then the arm gets stuck on the mirrors of the bus that poke up from the window, so we're only a couple feet away as that freight train goes flying by. This is the early days of cell phones, and enough kids called their parents. So the parents said to me, Ari, wasn't that close? And I go, yeah, another 10 seconds, I would have told them to jump for the emergency exits. And then when I went to First Student, they claimed I was drunk and made up the whole thing. That was their claim. So whenever I hear bad news about First Student, I get very excited. But then I realize not everybody was that idiot bus driver who they refused to hire. And in fact, there's probably some good working people there, and they're losing their jobs. Do you think that the reason First Student is laying off 111 people? By the way, I did reach out to them for comment so they could clarify this. They did not get back to me. I assume I'm not their favorite person. So what happens? They are laying off 111 people. Do you think that's because of declining enrollment, or do you think it's because of something else? Now, one of our listeners sent me an article, and the article is apparently about union negotiations where they voted for higher pay increases. But if you vote for higher pay increases, that money needs to come from somewhere, and you may need to lay some people off in order to pay those salaries. Do you think it's that? Or do you think it's declining enrollment? Give me a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Because here, according to this new email that went out from Ben Schuldiner, who's the new superintendent of public instruction over at Seattle Public Schools, thousands of kids have left the Seattle Public School District. Now, if thousands of people left the largest district in the state, how many left from the other surrounding areas that First Student also serviced? Ben Schuldiner said when you're $87 million in the hole, you can't just pretend that money grows on trees. He said he identified some areas to make cuts, including a reorganization of the central office and deciding not to fill vacancies. But guys, to fill an to close an $87 million funding gap, you know how you have to do that? You got to close some schools. You got to lay some people off, and the teachers' unions will never let him do it. So what he's going to do is he's going to have to go to the legislature and beg them for money. Now, mind you, the last superintendent of Seattle Public Schools did that, and that just meant more taxes for us. But what are we actually paying for? So according to KUOW, Washington State has slipped once again in national education ranking. The new report from the Annie E. Casey Foundation shows Washington dropped from 27th in the nation to 31st overall. The findings are based on data from 2024. Last year, the state fell another spot. A little over a decade ago, it ranked 20th. So we're really not doing well here, are we? Washington's Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction remains skeptical of the research and contends that the state has made progress in every area. Really? What? What progress have you guys actually made? None whatsoever. Let's not forget, the latest analysis showed that 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in math. 68% of 4th graders are not proficient in reading. This seems to be getting worse and worse, not better and better. So how'd you do? Where are the areas you actually grew in? Where are the areas you're improving in? You're not. You're not. And this is why kids are leaving the public schools. First Student services the public schools. Do you think that's what's happening, or do you think it's the union thing, or do you think it's something we don't even know about? Because First Student won't get back to my request for comment so we can find out what's actually going on. I feel bad for the bus drivers that are losing their jobs, but this is as a result of the public schools sucking. And then there's something else. When you have a big budget deficit, you're going to stop paying for things like the school buses. Do you think it's a funding thing where a lot of districts said, we're not paying for this anymore? Parents, you lazy parents, drive your kids to school. And then maybe that affected it. Look, I drove my kids to school every single day for their entire lives until they got their driver's licenses and could drive each other. No joke. I seriously did that every single day. I'm not paying for no bus. Plus, their school was pretty close. So that wasn't such a big deal. I just went to work right afterwards. And also, that's bonding time. That's bonding time where you get to teach them about your music. You get to brainwash them about your music. That's why all my kids like AC/DC and Metallica. I call that doing parenting right, don't you? Lots more to discuss as the show continues, my friends. Up next, Andrew Giuliani joins us to discuss the White House's role in FIFA, especially here in Seattle. Are they getting along well with Katie Wilson or not? Are those cameras on? Tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Well, my friends, the World Cup is underway, and of course, we look at everything through a bit of a political lens. But how's the White House doing handling all this fun that's going on here in Seattle, especially given the fact that we have an oppositional governor, an oppositional King County director, and an oppositional mayor? Joining us now to discuss on the KVI studio line, Andrew Giuliani, who's the director of the White House FIFA Task Force. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Hey, really, really good being with you, Ari.
Good to have you here. So it seems like everything's going well so far.
Hey, you know what? It's been 1 week in, and I think this is going fantastic. And the reason why I could tell is you see the play that's being talked about on the pitch. Everybody's very, very exciting. I think the U.S. team coming out in convincing fashion with a great victory against Paraguay really helps that too. And just the fact that, hey, look, we've put, so much time and effort over the last, 15 months into making sure that the stadiums were secure, the fan fest, all the areas around them, the transportation was going to work here. It's nice to see it coming into fruition. It's nice to see the focus be on these incredible athletes and the work that they're doing.
So does the president have any money riding on the games? Is it the kind of thing where he bets the other world leaders and he says, hey, Team America is going to win?
That's a great question right there. I always let the president speak for himself on this stuff just because he always likes a nice cliffhanger. He likes you sitting on the edge of your seat. I can tell you he's going to lean in on this World Cup. I've already talked to him a couple different times since the U.S. Won. I had the opportunity to go and go down the night before the game and have the president call the team. And he gave a great, pregame speech to the team, talking about how they're going to make the country proud over our 250th birthday to compete in a World Cup, the largest sporting event that our country's ever hosted, over our semi-quincentennial. What an unbelievable opportunity in time to wear the flag, to wear the crest, as they say it. And the thing that's amazing about this group of young men, they love their country. Whatever differences politically they might have, whatever backgrounds they come from, you can tell they love their country. The fact that after their victory yesterday, on Friday, they ended up huddling around in prayer, I think was absolutely beautiful. I think this is a team that the entire country can get behind, and I'm really, really looking forward to this next match in Seattle on Friday against Australia.
Yeah, everybody else is here too, because I looked at the ticket prices and holy cow, I don't think I'm going to be going to that game. I couldn't even cash in for a media pass on that one. We're talking with Andrew Giuliani, who's the director of the White House FIFA Task Force. Now, regarding Seattle, our mayor and other elected officials really do not like the president, and they've been doing everything in their power seemingly to make your job harder around here. Has it been a good relationship, and that's just grandstanding, or has it been difficult to work with them?
Well, I'll tell you what has been good, right? I mean, working with Seattle PD, working with law enforcement, kind of the work between the federal law enforcement and state and local law enforcement has been as good as you can expect, which I think has been really, really key. Whatever political differences the mayor has and the governor has with the president, and, we know certainly where they stand on issues. We know how the president, always stands by our law enforcement, understands the importance of making sure that our national security is first and foremost when you're thinking about global events like that. The great thing is law enforcement has leaned in. So that's been great. I also have to compliment the Seattle Host Committee in particular. I think they've done a good job at really trying to push for Seattle and Washington, for all those people that love soccer, whether or not you're of our political persuasion or of their political persuasion. So in spite of the differences, I think there's been good progress. Look, could there always be better? Yeah, there could be. But I think this is one of the things that I've tried to impress upon everybody. And for me, and people know where I stand, you can go look at my politics over here. President Trump and I see eye to eye on, I'd say 99%, but I think that's too conservative, 99.9% of issues. But we look at it this way. We want to get everybody on board who wants to make this World Cup the greatest World Cup yet, so that way we can show off American exceptionalism over our first 250 years and the hope and promise of our next 250 years. That's the greatness of the United States of America. There's one country that can host a World Cup on this stage, and that's the United States of America. And Ari, for my money, I know we talked about that before. For my money, there's only one president that can host this kind of global event this way, and that's the 45th and 47th president of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
Well, I will say it is a spectacle, and we're all looking forward to it. It's been fun to watch, even for those of us like me who are not soccer fans. Andrew Giuliani, director of the White House FIFA Task Force, thank you so much for joining us today. Really do appreciate it.
Ari, looking forward to it, and looking forward to seeing Seattle rally around our boys in red, white, and blue here on Friday.
Awesome. Really hope for a win for Team USA. We got a whole lot more to discuss as the show continues. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just want to remind everybody we are running two contests today. The first one is we are giving away two tickets to see Chris Tucker at the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel Ballroom on June 26th. All you have to do to be entered for your chance to win is text the word LAUGH, LAUGH. Text the word LAUGH to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. As our friend Matt says over on the text line, trying to decide over the Iran deal if he should be laughing or crying. That's right. But okay. The other contest we are running over at the KVI.com is to win four tickets to the Bremerton Air Show, July 11th through 12th. And don't forget, I will be out there in the flesh on July 12th, so you can come see me. I will shake your babies. I will kiss your hands. Wait, got that wrong. I will shake your hands. I will kiss your babies. I will take pictures. I will say hi. And we have a whole bunch of KVI stuff to give out to you. Now, the only way to win tickets to the Bremerton Air Show is going to KVI.com. You go to KVI.com, you sign up while you're there, and that's where you enter to win. Now, the Washington State Legislature did everything it possibly could to get rid of Keith Swank. Keith Swank, sheriff of Pierce County, Washington. The Democrats did not expect him to win. So because they can't win at the ballot box, they are trying to remove him any way they possibly can. So they've passed legislation trying to get rid of the guy, trying to change how you can be a sheriff. They have done everything possible to try and get rid of him. Well, now the Pierce County Commissioners, the 21-member Pierce County Charter Review Commission, a commission that nobody has ever heard of until this issue came up, has decided, you know what? We shouldn't vote on our sheriff anymore. Instead, we should just let the Democrats or whoever it is that's running appoint the sheriff. Now, first of all, it's taking away your right to vote. But second of all, you got a bigger problem here. You remember the only county that has done that in Washington? King County. And do you remember a little town called Burien? So Burien said, you know, we've had enough of being Seattle. We've had enough of this homeless insanity. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to change things up a little bit. We're going to say to our homeless, you guys, you can still camp, but can you not camp near schools or public buildings? And when we come find you, we're going to offer you treatment. Otherwise, you know, we're going to send you to jail, but we're going to offer you the treatment and stuff first. And then Dow Constantine, who was then the King County executive, told the appointed sheriff not to enforce this new ban. And she didn't. And they had to go to court over it. Now, Burien ultimately won, but basically, when you have an appointed sheriff, you have a lackey. That's what you have. And also, you're taking away people's right to vote. So now they are so desperate to get rid of Keith Swank, the people in Pierce County might vote away their right to vote to get rid of Keith Swank, which is absolutely insane. We go to the KVI studio line, take a call from Brenda. Brenda, what's going on?
Hey, just want to provide you an update. Yeah, my name is Brenda Molesky here, Commissioner Charter for District 2. Hey, I just want to let everybody know that, yes, we were not successful in regards to preventing this from going towards the ballot, but now it's officially noted it will be going forward to the ballot with the caveat that they added on that this will be an effective date, January of 2027. So what does that mean? That means that if the appointment does get to be approved, January of 2027, Sheriff Keith Swank will not exist anymore. They will be removing him midterm of his term of service. Now, I just want to let everybody know that, you know, the Municipal Research and Service Center, they summarize all of Washington's law, and it states, unless an elected official voluntarily resigns, the recall process is the recognized method under state law for removing an elected official before the next election. So the other reference that we found here, that which we're going to be talking about tonight, because our meeting's tonight, 6 p.m., please go to the Pierce County Charter website. You'll find the Zoom link if you want to go Zoom, but you can be there in person at the Pierce County Annex. University of Washington School of Law, Professor Hugh Spitzer notes that Washington has particularly strict recall requirements and that the recall is the process used to remove elected officials before their term expires. Now, whatever this charter they want to try to do, if they're successful, this is what the results are. The voter's choice is being overridden. The constitutionally protected term of office is being shortened. The amendment conflicts with recall provisions and other constitutional protections. Due process rights are being violated. And that is what's happening, folks. And I just want to share that with everybody. Yes, The Trotter is an unusual egg because we meet every 10 years, but people need to understand that whatever they vote for is going to last for 10 years.
Well,
So
here's
we
something
need to
else,
make the
Brenda.
right
They would literally be in the same situation as King County. They would be in the exact same situation as King County, where now you're under the Pierce County executive. And last time I checked, he's not exactly the most even-handed individual. And that's somebody who could appoint this person. But you also have to think about this for a second, is that they are creating constitutional problems, and this is something that will undoubtedly, if it passes, get tied up in court. Brenda, appreciate all your research, appreciate your perspective, appreciate you being part of the show. You want to be part of the show, you give us a call or a text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Switching gears, saw this report from the Daily Fish Wrapper, as my friend Lars Larson likes to call it, over at the Seattle Times. So, you know, the big Starbucks headquarters that they're not moving out of, that they're so not moving out of, that they're definitely not moving out of to Nashville, that big corporate headquarters? Well, for a while, a whole bunch of retail space has been available in that big corporate headquarters that they're not moving out of, that they promise they're not moving out of, even though they're laying off everybody here. And what they're doing is actually hiring a whole bunch of people in Nashville. So downstairs, they used to have a big Office Max, or was it Office Depot? I don't remember. It was one of the office companies that don't exist no more. So they had that downstairs in the basement. On the other side, they had this big Whole Foods. Now, what's interesting about that is that whole building used to be Sears. So look at the businesses replacing the businesses replacing the businesses. Either way, moving on, one of these spaces is now has an interested tenant, a data center. So a data center wants to go into that building, and I'm sure the landlord is ecstatic, but of course the lefties are going bonkers crazy. Why? It's going to be bad for the environment. It's going to use up all the electricity. It's going to use up all the water. Do you guys not want somebody to pay your taxes? Because a company that comes here, even if it's a data center with very few employees, still have to pay taxes for operating in Washington State. Do you not want their tax money? Do you not think there's a way you could solve these alleged power problems or alleged water problems? No. What I don't think these lefty crazies realize is that they're actually shilling for China. China wants us to fall behind in the data wars. China wants us to fall behind in the AI wars. So the issue here is if they can stop more of these data centers, then who gets the advantage? That would be China. And I'm not sure how many of these activists realize they're working on behalf of China. Well, a whole bunch of them think America's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad. So for all you know, they are working on behalf of China intentionally. But now you've got a potential tenant for a building that's about to be completely empty. Starbucks does not own that building. A different company does. And I'm sure they'd love to have a tenant after you activists cost us Starbucks because you guys protested so much and you guys raised the taxes so much that now even a lefty company like Starbucks says we're getting out of here. How much more damage do you guys want to do? So, if they put a data center in at Starbucks, do you actually care? Personally, I feel bad for the landlord in all this. Seattle's politics, Seattle's activist class, cost him his biggest tenant. All those offices upstairs, the roastery downstairs of that building. We helped him move. We showed up that day with a U-Haul to help him move. They cost him this business, and now they're going to cost him another potential tenant. Is it just a war on landlords, or is it just these people don't realize they're useful idiots? Up next, my friends, final hour free-for-all, we're going to discuss the Iran deal and see if there's any good in it. I'm not so optimistic. Tell you all about it when we come back. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome to the Ari Hoffman Show's final hour free for all. Your calls, your texts, your thoughts, your stories, streaming live at KVI.com and the KVI app. If you want to be part of the most dangerous show on the airwaves, call or text the KVI studio line at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Coming up this hour, why is the entire local media mad at socialist Seattle Mayor Katie Wilson? We'll have some fun audio for you. But before we get to any of that, today, the Memorandum of Understanding was read to the media. Now, various versions of the Memorandum of Understanding regarding the Iran deal have been leaked to the media, and they were all very, very similar to this one that was read to the media. Looking at this thing on its face, this is not a good deal. This is a very, very, very bad deal, and has J.D. Vance's fingerprints all over it. Who's been the one shilling for the deal all week? Hasn't been Marco Rubio. That's normally who you see in situations like this. The one who's been out there doing all the shows has been J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance was the architect. J.D. Vance was on the negotiating team. J.D. Vance is the one going to the signing ceremony with the mass murderer from the Ayatollah's regime. They're going to shake hands, the guy who chants death to America and burns American flags in Parliament, and who is responsible for the deaths of thousands of people. J.D. Vance is going to be in a picture with that guy on Friday. Got the press release about it. That's what's expected. So what actually is in this thing? So, number one, United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran and their allies in the current war, by signing this MOU, declare the immediate and permanent termination of military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon. Why are you mentioning Lebanon? They're a terror proxy. Wait, Lebanon's not a terror proxy. Hezbollah. They're the terror proxy, and they're still fighting with Israel. They're still launching drones and rockets into civilian populations in northern Israel. Why is this such a big concern for the regime? Because they're the last terrorist group that still is somewhat active. The Houthi rebels, I mean, really, they've kind of been put in their place, and they're afraid to come out of their little caves. Hamas, almost entirely wiped out. ISIS, yeah, nobody's really paying attention to them. Syria fell under new leadership. Iran is running out of friends, and they want to keep their terrorist organization intact. As the number one state sponsor of terror, the fact that they are concerned about Hezbollah in Lebanon has me concerned about them giving up terror. What were the goals of this war? 1, no nuclear Iran. 2, no ballistic missiles for Iran. 3, no funding of terror. 4, free access in the Strait of Hormuz. Real simple, real easy. They have been clear about this from the beginning. By the way, this entire agreement does not address ballistic missiles at all. At all. And yet, 3 times in the opening paragraph, it mentions Lebanon. Israel's not at war with Lebanon. Israel's at war with Hamas. That's a terrorist group inside of Lebanon. And if you wanted Israel to be involved in these discussions, why isn't Israel involved in these discussions? So, they say they undertake now on not to initiate any war or military operation against each other, and to refrain from the threat of use of force against each other, and ensuring the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Lebanon. There we go again. Lebanon. Why are we talking about Lebanon? Can we focus on Iran? The final deal will confirm the permanent termination of the war on all fronts, including, wait for it, Lebanon. Personally, I think what's happening here is the Ayatollahs, or whoever's left of the Ayatollah, the gay Ayatollah, the dead Ayatollah, the one who's in a coma. I don't know which Ayatollah's left. Anyway, the IRGC, whoever's left of the terrorist organization, is looking out for their terrorist buddies. They're also setting a trap. If Hezbollah launches a few rockets over at Israel, and Israel retaliates by blowing up a terror cell, they could say, see, you violated the agreement. And then the U.S. goes, what do you mean? Israel's not part of the agreement. And they go, we told you to stop them. We told you to stop them. Who wants to tell me that thing about Israel controlling the U.S. or controlling Donald Trump again? Yeah, not a thing. But this shows they are committed to their terrorist ways. It shows they are committed to Hezbollah's survival, because they mention Lebanon 3 times in the opening paragraph. Letting the number one state sponsor of terror keep one of their proxies, probably a bad idea and shows they're not sincere. Paragraph 2, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran undertake to respect each other's sovereignty and territorial integrity and to refrain from interfering in each other's internal affairs. So if Iran wants to execute another 42,000 protesters, you guys don't get to say anything. That's an internal matter. That is for us, Donald Trump. We don't want to hear a word about it. By the way, getting back to the Lebanon thing for a second, have you noticed how President Trump's verbiage has changed? Sounds a lot more like Tucker Carlson or Megyn Kelly. And I noticed that J.D. Vance went on Megyn Kelly's show the other day. Didn't do Ben Shapiro's show. Went on Megyn Kelly's show. Why is he going on Granny Groiper's show? Because I'm a little concerned that J.D. Vance is a bit of an isolationist. We've been hearing a lot of his verbiage while he's been out doing the shows. Actually sounds a lot like the Democrats. No endless wars, no boots on the ground. Do I think we should send boots into Iran? No. Get the UAE to go in there and take out Karg Island and say, you guys can have the oil, just cut us in for a little bit. I think you could do that. But I think what you're starting to hear is, oh, why does Israel have to knock down a whole building when they go after one terrorist cell? Because the terrorist cell is operating in the building. It's a building filled with terrorists. And unfortunately, in war, there are casualties. Regarding these ending endless wars, do you know how you keep an endless war going? By continuing to ensure the survival of terrorist organizations like Hezbollah that has been responsible for the deaths of Americans. I mean, he's sounding a lot like Barack Obama these days. Moving on. The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran commit to negotiating and achieving the final deal in a maximum of 60 days, extendable by mutual consent. Is this going to be like Congress? We need another continuing resolution, another continuing resolution, another continuing resolution? Immediately upon signing of this MOU, the United States of America will begin removal of its naval blockade. Nope. Why are you removing the naval blockade if they still have all the nuclear products in country? Why are you doing that? Also, if you let their ships pass, that means they can sell the oil. That means their economy can recover. That means they can fund terrorism again and continue their nuclear weapons program. No, this is a bad idea. If you guys give us all the nuclear material, and if you guys stop funding terror, and if you guys stop your ballistic missile program, and if you guys say you're not going to mine, blow up, shoot rockets at, or toll the Strait of Hormuz, then we'll talk about getting rid of the blockade. Why are we giving in on this? That's crazy. Number 5. The Islamic Republic of Iran will make arrangements using its best efforts for the safe passage of commercial vehicles at no charge for 60 days only. So does that open up the possibility of tolls after that in the Strait of Hormuz? Are they looking forward to, hey, you know what, we'll give Trump the 60 days. It's like what they did on the, what was it, the 110 or the 405, whatever it was out here in Washington, where they said, oh, it's going to be free, it's going to be free. Ha, not so fast, we're putting a toll on it for you. That's what we're doing. Okay. Then you've got this. The United States of America undertakes with regional partners to develop a definitive, mutually agreed plan with at least $300 billion for the reconstruction and economic development of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Why is anybody giving them $300 billion? If you give us the nuclear dust, if you stop your weapons program, if you stop developing ballistic missiles, and if you don't toll the Strait of Hormuz, then, yeah, we'll talk about rebuilding your country so you guys could be part of the world economy. And maybe we'll talk to our regional partners about it. Maybe. If you ask nicely and you're not terrorists anymore and you stop executing protesters. Maybe. 7. The United States of America undertakes to terminate all types of sanctions against the Islamic Republic of Iran, including UN Security Council resolutions, IAEA Board of Governors resolutions, and all unilateral U.S. sanctions, primary and secondary, an agreed-upon schedule as part of a final deal. So now we're going to get rid of all the sanctions. Isn't that what Barack Obama was doing? Oh, we're going to ease the sanctions, or we're going to unfreeze assets. Between the $300 billion and now this, that's more money than Barack Obama ever gave them. You have just given an argument to the Democrats. You have just completely absolved Barack Obama of the JCPOA, the bad nuclear deal, by saying, hey, you know, here's what they get to do. They get to go on NBC. They get to go on M-Snow, whatever they're calling it now. They get to go on CNN and go, oh, you thought it was bad that Barack Obama gave them $1.2 billion? Trump has given them $300 billion. Trump is easing sanctions. You're going to see Democrats become the biggest foreign policy hawks you've ever seen before because of this. Because of this. They're going to say, Trump gave in to Iran. Look how much money he's giving them. Unfreezing assets, removing sanctions, that's giving them money, guys. Their economy was on their knees. They had nothing left. It cost $1 million real to equal $1. Their economy is in the toilet, which is why people were protesting. Now you're giving them the tools to rebuild it without getting anything in return? What are we getting in return? Then, the important part here, number 8, the Islamic Republic of Iran reaffirms it shall not procure or develop nuclear weapons. Reaffirms. You guys have been saying that for 50 years, and we had to go blow up a bunch of nuclear factories. So my question is, why are you believing them now? The United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran have agreed to resolve the disposition of stockpiled enriched material pursuant to a mechanism that will be mutually agreed upon in accordance with the schedule mentioned in paragraph 7, with the minimum methodology to be blending on site under the supervision of the IAEA. The two parties also agreed to discuss the issue of enrichment and other mutually agreed matters related to the Islamic Republic of Iran's nuclear needs based on a satisfactory framework being agreed upon in the final deal. So, wait a second. They still get to develop nukes? We're going to get rid of all the stuff we blew up, but they still get nukes according to their needs? What does that actually mean? For power? Doesn't take much to enrich that dirty water. Doesn't take much to do that with heavy water, Doesn't take much to enrich that uranium once you have all that stuff for power. For power. It's not for power. We know how this works out. So you're still letting them have nukes. Wait, you're destroying the nukes we blew up, but you're giving them a pathway to new nukes, and they are pinky promising that they're not going to develop nukes even though they've done it multiple times beforehand. Even though they've lied and lied and lied and lied and lied, why would you believe it? They reaffirm their promise. That's nonsense. Next, pending the final deal, the United States of America and the Islamic Republic of Iran agree to maintain the status quo. I'm sorry, what? What status quo? The Islamic Republic of Iran will maintain the current status quo of its nuclear program. What did we do all this for then? And the United States of America will not impose any new sanctions and will not deploy additional forces in the region. So we get to develop our nukes, and you don't get to attack us again. I'm just making sure I'm reading that right. I'm reading it to you as it was presented to reporters in the White House. Next. The United States of America undertakes that immediately upon signing this MOU and until the termination of sanctions, the U.S. Department of Treasury will issue waivers for the export of Iranian crude oil, petroleum products, and derivatives, and all associated services, including banking transactions, insurances, transportation, etc., which means now, we're not going to ease the sanctions right away, but you get to sell all your oil so you can rebuild your economy. Have fun, guys. Go ahead. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. The United States of America undertakes to make fully available for use the frozen or restricted funds and assets of the Islamic Republic of Iran upon the implementation of the MOU. We are unfreezing their assets. This is terrible and has J.D. Vance's fingerprints all over it. He's more of an isolationist. Like, okay, we beat him up a little bit. Let's go back to our corners. Yeah, this is a bad deal. Now, I know some people are saying, well, there's no reward unless they follow it. That ain't true. I just read to you the amount of things are happening because they signed this document, not because Iran did anything it's supposed to do. Now, the other thing is this is a memorandum of understanding of where we're trying to go for a peace deal. Here's the direction we're heading in. So it's not the final deal yet. And I wonder if they're playing a little 5D chess here. Because are they doing that thing which they did with the Abraham Accords, where they say, look to their partners in the Gulf, look, guys, we offered them everything. We offered them everything we possibly could. And then they still violated it. Now will you help us? Now will you help us out just a little bit? And I wonder something else here. Who's Iran's allies right now? Iran's allies are China and Russia. When you say rebuild, when you say community partners, when you say regional partners, when you say world partners, does that mean you're giving China access into Iran? Does that mean China is going to be somebody who comes and rebuilds Iran and now has a foothold in that region? How about Russia? Are they going to be involved in this mess? Are they going to come in and be part of this? What about them? On top of that, here's something else. No mention of the ballistic missiles program, which have been launched at all our Arab allies because they have our military bases out there. They've been launched at Israel. They've been launched at the U.S. They've been launched at our bases. They've been launched at the Arab countries. I wonder if this is a little 5D chess here. Because by saying to them, guys, if you don't step up, China's going to step up. By saying to our regional partners, if you don't step up, China's going to step up. And if you guys don't actually help us in this war, if you don't actually help us, they're going to have ballistic missiles again. And you know what? Donald Trump, he's crazy. He's going to let them have the ballistic missiles again. Are you guys actually going to step up and help us? Some of you didn't even let our planes fly over your countries. It's just been us and Israel, us and Israel, us and Israel, us and Israel. Where have you guys been? Is this going to make them so scared that they'll join the Abraham Accords who haven't joined it already? Is this going to make them so scared that they're actually going to participate in taking out Iran? That's the only upside here. That's the only upside if this is really fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional chess that's going on here. That's the only reason I can see it, because they did the same thing with the Abraham Accords. With the Abraham Accords, what they said was, look, we offered the Palestinians everything. We're not going to solve it because they are unreasonable. So how about you just make peace with the Jews? You get some kosher restaurants, you get some tourism going, and peace is better, and then Israel won't blow you up, and then you won't blow them up, and everybody will be happy. And that worked out great. That worked out great. In fact, it worked out so well. Saudi Arabia was about to join the Abraham Accords, and that's why Iran gave the go-aheads to their proxies to launch the October 7th attack, because they want to try and demonstrate that Israel was weak. And no, don't make peace deals with Israel, especially not against us, because remember, the Abraham Accords was because everybody got so scared that Iran might have a nuke. Be better to be on Israel's side that has no problem taking out a nuke. Because these Arab countries, when they're not hating Jews, they're hating on each other. If Israel didn't exist tomorrow, they'd all be at war with each other. So they know that a nuclear Iran is bad for them as well. Is this really a game of five-dimensional chess? Is this a game where President Trump, J.D. Vance, Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff say, well, we tried, guys, and if you don't want this crazy thing to go in place, you got to take some responsibility for it. You got to go get Karg Island. You got to bomb Iran. You got to give access to our planes. You got to deal with them, because so far, it's just been the U.S. and Israel. That's the only way I see this being 5D chess and being a good thing. Big risk. Big risk, especially when you say, yeah, we're not going to do anything about their ballistic missiles, and all these countries know the ballistic missiles are still a threat. Big risk, potentially big reward. In the short term, everybody in our world is ticked about this, because it seems like you're giving in to Iran. It seems like you are snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. Now, if this is the complicated game of 5D chess that I laid out, then President Trump or J.D. Vance or whoever negotiated this thing is brilliant. And they went all in. They went all in with the hand that they had. And that's cool. But right now, looking at this thing, why would you trust Iran to keep their word? They haven't kept their word yet. Why would you trust them to keep their word now? Why are you giving them back their economy? Do you really think this is the way out of this mess? And if things flare up again, when are they going to flare up again? 60 days. That puts us right into August. Now we're back in election season for the midterm. Right now, this is a liability for the Republicans. Right now, this is not a good thing. There is one way this might be a good thing, but I'm not sure that's what they're actually doing. Let me know if you agree with me or disagree with me. Give me a call or text at 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757. Up next, your reactions to my analysis of what's going on here with the administration and the Iran deal. Plus, we will also discuss what's going on with Katie Wilson and the media turning on her in Seattle. Give you all the details when we come back. You're listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just a reminder, we are running a contest today for you to win two tickets to see comedy legend Chris Tucker at the Snoqualmie Casino and Hotel Ballroom on Friday, June 26th. All you have to do is text the word I give you to the number I give you. Do not text your name. Do not text your phone number. Do not text your address. Do not text anything else. Just text the word I give you. Today's word is laugh. As in, when you see comedy legend Chris Tucker at the Snoqualmie Casino, you will likely laugh. Text the word laugh, L-A-U-G-H, to 206-421-5757. That's 206-421-5757 for your chance to win. Lots of comments regarding the Iran deal. This one here from Gino. Ari, who wrote this? Certainly not J.D. Vance. This is not what has been talked about the past few days. But all commentators kept saying, let's wait till Friday once we get the written document. Oh, yeah? This version is nuts. Gino, you're half right, my man. First of all, this is almost identical to all the versions I said leading up to today, where I said, okay, let's wait till we actually have it. The White House read this to the reporters. Now, is this something where they're playing another game of 5D chess where they're saying, look, guys, you don't have elections in Iran, but we got elections back here in the United States. Everybody's mad at us. They're never going to go for us. You need to change your terms. Maybe? I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, this is almost identical to what we've been saying the last few days. Almost identical. They were earlier drafts is what my guess is. And who wrote this? Of course, it has J.D. Vance's fingerprints all over it. More of the isolationist, more of the not so sure about Israel kind of approach, more of the, yeah, you know what, Tucker Carlson's son works for me kind of deal. There's a lot of J.D. Vance in this thing. I will just say this, Rubio in 2028. This one here from John in Lakewood. Ari, I believe it's a game of 5D chess as you described to bring NATO fully into the picture. Also give Iran the rope to completely hang itself. Interesting perspective. We'll see if that's what's going to happen. Bruce, Ari, the Iran MOU is a travesty. We are less than 3 weeks away from our nation's 250th anniversary on the 4th of July. I sure hope that Uncle Sam got plenty of KY on hand before the Ayatollah is going to do awful things to him. So we're not going to read the rest of that, Bruce, because that was pretty graphic. But I see where you were going with that. Okay, this one here, Robin Port Orchard says, it's the carrot. 60 days to figure out, the rest to get. Don't work. Big stick to follow after the midterms. You're not going to have midterms. You're going to get creamed in the midterms if this is what you have. In fact, the 360 says, if Trump signs this deal with Iran, if true, the Dems will totally crush the midterms voting. I'm hoping it doesn't happen at all. And the U.S. military just finishes the original plan. Why is Marco Rubio not involved in this? Why is it J.D. Vance's? J.D. Vance wanted to distinguish himself and say, look at me, look what I did. And it looks like he was catering to the more Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly crowd. Looks like he was catering more towards that crowd rather than actually the America First kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm a little concerned about this. I'm very concerned about this. Look, if Iran refuses the deal and makes any mistakes, we have to go blow them up again, fine. But 60 days, let's do a little bit of math here. July, August. You're now in mid-August. Everybody's coming back, and you are going to be in the heat of political season heading into the midterms. That's where we're going to be. If this goes forward, here's what happens. You're going to watch the Democrats' talking points change. What are the Democrats' talking points going to be? They're going to be, well, see, Barack Obama's deal wasn't so bad. He only gave them $1.3 billion. He only gave them that much money. Trump gave them $300 billion. You literally handed them the talking points. Trump unfroze all the sanctions. That's what you've never seen Democrats so in favor of going head to head with Iran and being tough on Iran. I mean, we'll be able to play their clips back and forth and make fun of them, of course. But guys, you are literally handing the Democrats talking points. In fact, I bet if I clicked over to MSNBC and CNN right now, you'd be seeing all the Democrats saying the talking points I just did. I've been in the studio all day long, but I guarantee you that this is what they are saying on MSNBC and CNN, and we'll have the clips for you tomorrow. From Randolph in Ravensdale. Ari, great stuff. It's a lot to absorb in drive time. Can you please give your outline main points on your X/Twitter? I want to learn each point tonight so I can judge what I hear from the media tomorrow. Father, you're our only hope. Thank you, you demand. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. I will slice up my monologue on the Iran deal. I will post it to social media because typing it all out is a lot of work. So I will put the whole thing up on, I will put this entire segment, the last entire segment up on social media so you guys can fight back and forth about the Iran deal and you can internalize all the points. If it is actually 5D chess, I'll be very impressed and I've covered my bases so I don't feel like a dummy head because that is a possibility after all what they did with the Abraham Accords. We'll see. So I saw the media was all talking about how McStabby's opened up the restaurant again. If you don't know that, that's the McDonald's at the corner of 3rd and Pine right over there on 3rd Avenue. And that's where the drug addicts and such always hang out. But from the World Cup, you got to clean that place up. You got to make sure it looks good because the eyes of the world are on us. So all it took was the World Cup coming to town, and they cleaned up the area around McStabby's. All open. Too bad there was a stabbing out at Gasworks Park. There were 2 stabbings out in the Chinatown International District because they're pushing all the violence and all the crazy outside the stadium area. They're pushing it all outside the hotel area, outside Pioneer Square, and they're pushing it all into my area and other areas around here. They're cleaning up all the touristy stuff, pushing it everywhere else. I actually wrote an op-ed for the New York Post that I think is going to be published tonight. I'll double check and see if it is. I think it's going to be published tonight, and when it does, it's about the trip that Jonathan Cho and Andrea Suarez and I took into the encampments on Sunday right before the World Cup. So while Katie Wilson is saying, oh, the world is ready, Seattle's ready, Seattle's ready, Seattle's ready, we're not. We are really, really not. Just say that right there. So I'll send that out tomorrow over on social media if it publishes tonight. Sometimes it publishes the next day. I'll make sure it's out there. Make sure you're following me, Ari Hoffman Official, on Facebook and Instagram, the Hofffather over on X. Up next, my friends, the Seattle media has turned on Katie Wilson. That plus more of your texts and more of your calls. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show during the final hour, free for all on Talk Radio 570 KBI. Welcome back to the Ari Hoffman Show. Just want to remind you, we are running 2 contests today. So the second contest we're running is you can win 4 tickets to the Bremerton Air Show on July 12th. We're going to be out there on July 12th, so you get to come see us. We will shake your babies and kiss your hands. Wait, that's not right. We will not do that. No. We will kiss your babies. That's what it is, and shake your hands. Yes, come see us at the Bremerton Air Show, which is taking flight July 11th and 12th at the Bremerton National Airport. A celebration of classic military aircraft and world-class aerobatic performers. I went last year. It was great. Had a great time. Something for everyone of all ages. For more about the air show, please visit bremertonairshow.com. If you want to try and win these fantabulous prizes, head on over to kvi.com. That's kvi.com. Check it out. And over there, you go over the contest page and enter for your chance to win. Young Zach was out in the field today. He's been my personal slave all week because now that he has a FIFA press pass, he can get into the places where normally Katie Wilson would not allow us to be. Not controlled by you anymore, Fivehead. Now we can go wherever we want because FIFA's in charge. And they don't know about our dangerous reputation. So young Zach was in the press gaggle today, who was really not very nice to Katie Wilson because I think they've kind of had it with her. I mean, they're asking her all these questions like, hey, you do know there's going to be a whole bunch of protesters at this thing, right? There's going to be a lot of protesters, right, Katie?
No, this is a global mega event, and so we are very much expecting and prepared for protest activity, which is why we have many designated protest zones in the stadium area, and our law enforcement is very prepared to deal with that. And the top priority is to keep everyone safe and make sure that fans can come, they can express themselves, and then everyone can enjoy the game.
Hang on a second, Katie. Hang on a second. So first you mentioned the protest zones. Have you guys seen the protest zones? They are, I don't know if I'm being generous, 4x8 sections of concrete with this white netting garbage construction cones around them. You think Antifa's going to stay in the protest zones? Kshama Sawant, literally yesterday, her and her lovable band of lunatic. I can't even talk normally today. It's too hot in the studio. Our air conditioning is still broken today. Her and her crazy band of communists. There we go. That's easier to say. We're out there marching yesterday. Guess where they weren't? They weren't in the protest zones. Oh, Katie, you think Antifa and the Hamasniks are going to stay in their protest zones? No, they're not. And then my favorite part, she's now praising law enforcement. Didn't you used to want to defund the police? Notice you can't do your job without them, huh? What else did the media have for Mayor Katie?
Those stadium cameras were turned on. You had a tough decision to make. How do you feel about a weekend now?
Yeah, I mean, we laid out our strategy around the CCTV cameras earlier this year. This was an extension of that strategy where we said we were going to install them, and if there was a credible threat, we were going to turn them on. I got a briefing from our law enforcement partners. There have been credible threats, but, don't be alarmed. This is, nothing out of the ordinary.
Wait. Hang on a second. I got a credible threat, so I turned on the cameras. But don't be alarmed, because it's perfectly safe. I'm confused. Did you get a credible threat or not? Should people be concerned? Should people be watching out for things? Or are you just trying to cover your butt? Because you know that you had to turn those cameras back on because federal law enforcement wanted them because all the other blue cities turned them on. And you picked this hill to die on. You picked this hill to die on. Was that young Zach asking the question? Sounded like it was.
Events of this scale. And so made the decision to turn those on. And again, feeling very confident in our safety and security preparations.
Have there been any arrests made regarding those credible threats?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so that was definitely Zach. I heard Zach's voice there. That was Zach in that mess there. And Zach goes, okay, if there are credible threats, have you arrested anybody? And she goes, no. So if there's a credible threat, but you haven't arrested anybody, why should people feel safe? Or was this just you covering your butt because you didn't want to turn your cameras on? I think we all know the answer to that one.
Out of all the host cities, Seattle's seeing the lowest amount of traffic people coming to Seattle. Why do you think that is? And can Seattle be a better host city?
Okay, the question was, why are we not seeing as much traffic, as much people coming to the city as other cities?
I think we are seeing a really exciting amount of activity on our waterfront. Pioneer Square has been packed. We saw the game on Monday, almost at capacity, over 66,000 people in that stadium. And again, the upcoming matches we're expecting to be also at capacity. So we're feeling really good about the excitement that this is generating and the people who are coming here for the games, both people from Seattle in our region and from around the world.
Okay, that was a non-answer. So we're not seeing the traffic. We have the hotel reservations are down. Ticket prices, with the exception of the American games, are not as high as they were expecting to be. In fact, some of them have released more tickets. So we're not seeing as many people. And actually, places aren't seeing as much business. Zach was out there yesterday. I was talking to him. I said, Zach, what are the hot dog cart vendors, the legal ones? What are they saying? And he goes, it's not that much business. You know why? We seem to have a lot of the Muslim teams here. The Muslim teams keep halal. They can't eat at your restaurants. I have a little bit of experience with this. Oh, and also we have a lot of the Muslim teams here. They can't drink at your bars. So maybe that's part of the problem. Oh, also, Iran's coming to town. Well, how many Iranians can actually make it here to watch that game? That's a whole nother thing, too.
So why is Seattle attacking the fewest?
What?
Why is Seattle attacking the fewest then of all the host cities?
The fewest.
Out-of-towners, people coming in from international countries.
I'm not going to speak to an analysis of that, but I'll just say that our downtown is buzzing, and we're really excited for the activity.
I believe you personally attended one of the games, right? Were you at the Monday's
I have
game?
not attended a game yet.
Do you have plans to go?
I will be attending the game this Friday.
We have time for two more.
We've seen a significant cleanup in some of the most notorious hotspots here in the city. Some people have complained that they believe the homeless have been moved to other streets, particularly Blanchard and some other areas outside of maybe Pike, 3rd and Pike, 12th and Jackson. Do you have any insight into what's happened and if those people have just been pushed off to other streets?
So we've had a focused effort in the Pioneer Square neighborhood that is a collaboration between our service providers and our Downtown Seattle Association, which has really been focused on navigating individuals who have been sleeping unsheltered in that area into shelter with services. That effort has been very successful.
Hang on. No, it hasn't. So Andrea Suarez went and checked out the brand new tiny home village. Nobody's living there. Nobody is living there, which means if you're not pushing them into shelters, where are you pushing them? Oh, to neighborhoods like I saw in Chinatown, like over on Blanchard, like in South Seattle. That's where we're actually seeing them. No, your shelter program isn't working. There's nobody in the brand new shelter you opened. You opened it for 75 people. Nobody's in it.
At the same time, our unified care team, which does encampment removals when there's an obstruction or public safety hazards, has been continuing its normal work. We're not focusing removal efforts, for the reason of the World Cup.
Oh, give me a break. You didn't get rid of them in my neighborhood. You didn't get rid of them in North Seattle. Why are you getting rid of them in that neighborhood? Because that's the one where the world is watching. I don't know what's happening with our international media. Zach texted me earlier this morning. He's like, I'm going to this mayor's press conference. You got any questions for the mayor? And I said, yeah, ask this, and this. He calls me afterwards. He says, Ari, you're not going to believe it. The media turned on her. They were all asking your questions. I didn't even ask your questions because they were asking your questions. Do you think it's they smell blood in the water? They see that Katie Wilson... They're all hoping for the next viral moment, right? They're all hoping for the next Chris Daniels moment where she says something stupid or her staff pulls her away. That's what they're all hoping for. So you got to ask a good question if you want that. Not, how much do you love soccer? Is soccer the absolute best?
They're using their normal protocol to basically prioritize sites based on safety issues or obstructions.
Prioritize sites based on safety issues. I don't believe you.
Well, follow up to that, Bayside Enhanced Shelter, it's in single digits. And with the housing first model, why isn't it getting filled up so you can treat the needs of those people? Why is it so empty still?
It is not empty, so I'm not sure where you're getting your information.
It is empty. It is empty. Andrea Suarez took video of it. It's empty.
But our permanent supportive housing and our shelter system is operating at capacity.
No, it's not. It's empty.
It's very full. We are working really hard to bring more enhanced shelter with services online. We just opened up a new 75-unit pallet shelter.
That's the one he's talking about. That's the unit he's talking about, and nobody's in the thing.
Interbay about a week ago. Really excited about that. And we're going to have more shelter sites coming online in the next few months because that is really what we need, especially for folks who are chronically homeless, is places they can come inside with those supportive services.
So either Katie Wilson is lying or Katie Wilson's dumb and doesn't actually know what's going on in her own city. Either possibility. Hey, put your hands together. Might be both of them, my friends. Only good news to wrap up the show. Your good news headlines put a smile on your face heading into your evening commute. You're listening to the Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI. It is time to feel good as we wrap up another amazing episode of the Ari Hoffman Show right here on Talk Radio 570 KVI. Speaking of walking on sunshine for the second day in a row, the air conditioning is completely busted in the studio. I might as well be walking on the sun. Maybe we should change it over to that song or something. Holy cow, it's hot in here. I still have the fan I have stolen from my children before they go to camp this summer, and they're leaving at camp pretty soon. They're going to want this sucker back. So, yeah, I got to find a new solution for tomorrow. Maybe just pour ice on myself during the show. Yeah, that'll be fun for everybody watching over on the live stream. I will say the weather outside has been gorgeous. In fact, the weather around here is nicer in the bathroom than it is in the studio. So it's really tempting to just do the show from there tomorrow. If you hear an echo on the show tomorrow, just know we are inside the men's room of our building because for some reason the air conditioner in there works perfectly fine, not in here. But outside, the weather's been beautiful. Enjoy it. Get out. Go do some of the World Cup stuff here. Enjoy it while it's safe. Go to McDonald's on 3rd and Pine. Go on down there and enjoy it. Meanwhile, another good news, the Seattle Aquarium has welcomed Tandu, a humphead wrasse confiscated from wildlife traffickers. Okay, this looks like the big blue dumb fish in Finding Nemo. You know which one I'm talking about. That's that kind of fish. In his new home in Ocean Pavilion, where he now shares the reef habitat with thousands of tropical fish. Now, when I saw this guy at the aquarium, when I went to check out the aquarium a few weeks ago, I thought it was computer. I thought it was fake. I didn't know they actually look like this. I thought they were just showing fish from Finding Nemo. Nope, he's real. Tandu arrived from the Singapore Oceanarium, where he lived for 4 years. Before that, he spent about 2 years at Ocean Park, Hong Kong, after being rescued following an illegal import into Hong Kong. Because Tandu was confiscated from wildlife traffickers, officials cannot determine his source location, making it impossible to return him to the wild. I assume they're not trafficking him to eat him. People just want to keep him that badly? Tandu was subsequently transferred to the Singapore Oceanarium before moving to Seattle. Quote, "We're ecstatic to welcome Tandu to the reef alongside his new neighbors. Our team has spent the last several months preparing him for the move through dedicated care and target training, ensuring he's comfortable and confident in his new environment. Did you help him open a bank account? Did you help him get rent on his apartment? I mean, it sounds a little bit more complicated. He's a fish. Throw him in the water." Tandu is a fantastic addition to the habitat. I will say, it is so cool it looks computer generated. In addition to serving as an ambassador for his endangered species, Tandu is contributing to conservation research through Saving Face. Well, that's appropriate because he's got a giant face, which aims to detect and prevent the trafficking of the humphead wrasse, according to the aquarium. Researchers have demonstrated that each humphead wrasse can be identified by its unique facial markings, similar to human fingerprints. By photographing individual fish over time, the team found that the markings remain stable, allowing authorities and researchers to identify and track individual wrasses. Sounds pretty bad wrasse to me. The next phase of the project includes the planned launch of the Saving Face app, which will encourage people to photograph humphead wrasse and share location information from fish markets and restaurants throughout Asia. The goal is to compare the fish's facial markings against a database that can help authorities determine whether a wrasse was sold to a market without the required permits, providing a new tool to combat illegal wildlife trafficking. This is in the new pavilion over at the aquarium, so I recommend you go check it out. That's going to do it for us today, my friends. Fear not, we'll be back tomorrow, hopefully with air conditioning, with more insane stories and more exciting guests and more giveaways. You've been listening to The Ari Hoffman Show on Talk Radio 570 KVI.